grab your cup. 3 things that you need to know if you live your life in fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. Okay? So real quick, those are the ways that our nervous system will express itself when we feel under threat. When we feel like we're not safe, you're going to find one of those 4 ways. Fight is when you're always feeling defensive. Somebody says something to you and you're right away defensive about it, or you're ready for a fight. You might find that your life has a lot of conflict in it. You're always got like dissension with people. You also might notice that you have a lot of judgment in your head about yourself and a lot of judgment about other people. That's when you're in fight mode. Flight is kind of the opposite. You're avoiding conflict all the time and you're avoiding what there is to deal with. So you stay super busy. You're a workaholic. You can never sit down and rest. You're always going. You're in flight mode. Freeze is when you feel, that's when you're in burnout. It's when you feel like, I just want to lay on my bed in fetal position. Freeze is having a sense of being almost dissociated, checked out. And that happens when you've been so upregulated and so triggered on for a long enough time that the nervous system actually knows it's not sustainable, and you still feel under threat. You still don't feel safe, but now you're dropping into what energy is available to you. You no longer can go or fight. You just need to check out. And then the 4th one is fawn, and that's when you're people pleasing. What do I need to do to make everybody happy? How am I going to please this person and that person? Those are the 4 ways that we learn to cope when our nervous system is expressing itself through stress, when you're stuck in a stressed mode. Stress is good. We need a certain amount of stress to just be in action every day. If you didn't have cortisol go up in the morning, you wouldn't get out of bed, right? So it's a good thing to a certain degree. But when you're stuck in one of those 4 expressions, your physical body can't heal. You don't communicate well. You're in reaction mode, right? Always being defensive, can't hear the other person's perspective. You don't communicate well. You cut people off. You need to be heard first. You need to be right. Things like that. Or you're just going and avoiding anything, and that's impacting your relationship. And again, your physical body cannot heal. So anything that you're trying to overcome in terms of chronic health issues won't happen when you're stuck there. Okay, so these are the 3 things that you need to know. There's probably more than these, but these are the top 3 in my mind. And when I work with clients, we have to get right into this and understand this in order to learn how to regulate your nervous system. So the first one is knowing and understanding that your state drives your story. Your state drives your story. What that means is that we all have an interpretation of life. So something is happening and one person thinks it's the greatest thing ever, somebody else thinks it's the worst thing. Why is that? Because whatever's happening, we interpret through a lens in our brain. And the lens that we have got created by our experiences that we've had before, by the way we learned that we had to cope in life. All of that shapes our lens. Your state, meaning your emotional state, will drive the story that you have. So here's a quick example. Your partner walks in the door at the end of the day, they drop their stuff and they go right into the other room. One story that you could have is, oh my God, they're always mad at me. What did I do now, right? So when you're in a stressed state, when your nervous system always expects a fight or always expects to be unsafe, that will be the story that you say in your head. It's what you say in your head. Someone else might see that same thing happen and think, oh my God, they must have a bad belly. They went right to the bathroom. They probably were like driving the whole way home, just waiting to get here. Very different story. Same exact thing happened. So the state that you're in, your nervous system state, and the emotions that you tend to be in every day are going to drive the story that you have. And then that story will have you choose certain behaviors. So if you think your partner didn't talk to you and just disrespected you, and you might be ready for a fight, what's your problem? If your story is, oh gosh, they must have a bad belly, you're going to react very differently. Hey, can I help you? Is everything okay? All right, so your state drives your story. The second thing is recognizing that you are responsible for your nervous system regulation. If you live your life like it's everybody else's fault, they piss me off. I can't stand when they do that. She makes me feel guilty. He makes me feel guilty. I have to respond. I have to react in this way. And I did this. I did all of these things that I'm sharing with you. They're coming from personal experience, then from the training and the education that I got, and from working with so many people and seeing what works and what doesn't. If you don't decide that you're responsible, regardless of what anybody else says or does, you will keep living your life in one of those 4 expressions of your nervous system. You will stay in fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. And life will feel really hard and very upsetting most of the time, and you're not going to have great health and energy, and your relationships are going to suffer. You have to decide, I am responsible for how I manage my nervous system. And then the third thing is recognizing that the language of your nervous system is sensations. Most of your nervous system is in your body, not up here in your head. The language of your thoughts is words, right? You think words. But the language of your nervous system is in your physical body. You only have 20% of communication is from your head down to your body. So you think something, like, for example, you think, oh my God, dinner tonight is going to be so good, and immediately you start to feel hungry, or you feel your mouth salivate, right? You had a thought and your body responded. That only happens 20% of the time. 80% of the time is communication from your body to your brain. So your body is having sensations. Your nervous system, the language of your nervous system is sensations. So that means somebody says something and you feel your stomach tighten, or you feel a little heaviness in your chest, or you feel excited. And that comes from how your nervous system is regulated. It comes from the past experiences and emotions that you hold in your body. If you haven't let those out, they're there all the time, waiting to be expressed. So you feel that sensation, and that's going to drive the thoughts that you have. You feel that little kick in the stomach, and you think, oh, they're mad at me. So understanding that you are responsible, that your body and your nervous system act in sensations and emotions, and that your story, what state you allow yourself to be, will drive your story. Those are the 3 things. And if you don't know how to regulate your nervous system, if you don't know how to stop the blaming and the thoughts that you have, and if you don't know how to move out of the constant anger or guilt or sadness, those are all things that you have to teach yourself. Rewiring your thinking is great, because your thoughts can go all over the place, right? You can remember what your spouse did. You've been divorced for 10 years, but you're still angry at them. Or you can worry about next week, or if I go to this social event, are people going to think I'm cool? Am I going to connect? Is it going to be okay? Am I going to get this job next week? What if this happens? Your thoughts can go all over the place. And most people are very used to living up here and chasing their thoughts and believing their thoughts, believing their story. But if you're ready to stop doing that and learn how to regulate your nervous system and rewire those thoughts and live in peace, put talk in the comments so that we can have a free conversation about the work that we do. I lived that way for decades. It affected my health. It affected my relationships. I know exactly what that feels like, and I also know how to help you get out of it. So go ahead and put talk. Let's connect.